no further action from the stewards. As a team, we can see Lando has to avoid Verstappen, so we won't take any action during the race. We can review further afterwards.
Hey, that's not fair. I'm sorry, that's not fair.
Under the bright lights of Singapore, McLaren's perfect season cracked. What followed exposed the shocking truth no one inside Woking expected. McLaren finally secured the Constructors' title under the blinding lights of Marina Bay. Both drivers were in peak form, and the paddock expected a night of celebration. Instead, what should have been a crowning moment turned into a slow-motion implosion. The victory confetti couldn't hide the cracks forming beneath the surface.
Yeah, but if he has to avoid another car by crashing into his teammate, then that's a pretty shit job of avoiding.
Midway through the race, Lando Norris lunged down the inside of Oscar Piastri, forcing him wide and nearly into the barriers. There was no contact heavy enough for damage, but the symbolism was brutal. Two teammates fighting like sworn enemies while the pit wall stayed silent. It was a move that said more about ego than strategy. When Piastri's voice came through the radio, the disbelief was clear. He didn't shout, he didn't panic. He simply asked, "So, are we cool with Lando just barging me out of the way?" And the silence that followed was louder than any team order. It was the sound of a team losing control in real time. McLaren's official line was simple. They said they were letting them race. But letting them race is a beautiful phrase until it starts breaking your own team apart. Behind that polished phrase was a quiet admission that control had already slipped through their fingers. Zach Brown tried to project calm. Andrea Stella repeated that the team wanted both drivers to have freedom. Yet even casual fans could see that freedom without fairness is chaos. McLaren's house of order had turned into an emotional battlefield. Every lap now felt like a test of loyalty rather than a race for glory. For Piastri, it wasn't just about losing position, it was about losing faith. You can repair a car in 2 hours. Repairing trust inside a Formula One team can take years, if it ever comes back at all. And once a driver doubts his own team, every radio call starts to sound like betrayal. What happened in Singapore wasn't sudden. It was the eruption of something that had been building since Monza. Earlier in the year, Piastri had done everything right. Fast, composed, consistent, he looked like McLaren's future made real. Every performance felt like proof that he had earned his place at the top. Then came that Italian Grand Prix. A slow pit stop for Norris, a perfect one for Piastri, and a call that changed everything. The order came through: give the place back. Piastri obeyed, but the damage was done. Fairness, the one word McLaren always sold to the world, suddenly looked negotiable. From that moment, trust stopped being a principle and became a privilege. That moment at Monza planted the seed. Singapore watered it, and now it's growing into a crisis McLaren can't hide behind team smiles and press releases. Every grin on the pit wall now looks like a mask covering quiet panic. McLaren insisted that Monza's call was based on principle. They said the order to swap positions was pre-agreed, a matter of fairness after a pit stop mishap. But if slow stops are part of racing, what principle was left to defend? The logic might have looked neat on paper, but on the track it reeked of favoritism.
Yeah, obviously a difficult race, difficult first lap, but I've not seen the replay, obviously. I just know from in car, so I'll go and have a look, but it's obviously a great night for the whole team.
It's easy to talk about values when results are good. It's harder when your driver feels robbed. Piastri may have said the right words in public, but behind the scenes, the tension was thick enough to cut with a front wing. Every polite interview became another act of quiet resistance.
I don't think, obviously, there was any intention of contact, but there was, and again, I need to look at the replay and see what exactly happened.
And by the time they reached Singapore, that polite frustration had transformed into a silent rebellion. No shouting, no tantrums, just a cold, calculating awareness that he could no longer trust the same voices calling his races. What began as disappointment had evolved into defiance. When the incident hit global screens, the reactions poured in. Martin Brundle, always direct, said what fans were already thinking. McLaren had lost control of their drivers. David Coulthard compared it to his own turbulent years, warning that internal imbalance can destroy a team faster than mechanical failure. Even Toto Wolff couldn't resist a smirk. He said he'd seen this movie before, a cheeky reminder of the Hamilton-Rosberg disaster that tore Mercedes in half. Each comment was a dagger, exposing how fragile McLaren's golden project really was. And then there was Max Verstappen. Asked about Norris's aggressive move, he simply raised an eyebrow and laughed. "I guess they're racing freely," he said. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. When Max Verstappen is mocking your definition of fairness, something has gone very wrong. After Singapore, reports began to leak from inside the team. Piastri was said to have left the paddock early, skipping post-race celebrations even as McLaren secured another milestone. He didn't storm out, he simply walked away. That image of a young champion in waiting walking alone became the photo that told the whole story. Team staff described the mood as frozen. Lando celebrated politely, the engineers clapped, but the atmosphere in the garage felt hollow, like everyone knew the unity they'd built over 2 seasons had cracked. Formula One runs on data, but in moments like this, emotion becomes the real variable. You can't simulate trust in a wind tunnel, you can only earn it. And once it's gone, every pit call starts to sound like politics. Andrea Stella tried to frame it all as growing pains. "They're both competitive, they push each other," he said. It sounded rehearsed, the kind of PR language teams use when they're firefighting from both ends. Zach Brown added his own spin. "We don't have number 1s or 2s. The problem is, nobody believes that anymore. Not the fans, not the paddock, probably not even the drivers. The illusion of equality has shattered under the weight of visible bias and invisible promises." In the court of F1 public opinion, McLaren's defense became evidence. The more they insisted nothing was wrong, the clearer it became that everything was. Then came the real bombshell. Reports from the European press hinted that Oscar Piastri's management team might be quietly exploring options for 2027. The name floating around was Ferrari. It sounds outrageous that McLaren has only just extended his deal, but Formula One contracts are built on sand. Escape clauses, performance triggers, and political loopholes are as common as tire changes. If a relationship breaks beyond repair, there's always a way out. Ferrari, meanwhile, is watching. With Hamilton nearing the end of his career and Leclerc's patience wearing thin, Maranello may soon have a golden seat open. And if they want a young driver with composure, speed, and a grudge the size of Monza, Piastri fits that profile perfectly. While the rumors swirl off track, on it the rivalry grows sharper. Norris has clawed back points, Piastri has stumbled, and both now sit in a psychological tug-of-war that no amount of PR can hide. Every qualifying session looks like a duel. Every strategy call feels like a test. You can almost hear the tension in their radio messages, the clipped tones, the awkward silences, the moments of forced politeness. This isn't teamwork anymore, it's containment. The danger for McLaren is simple. They built a car good enough to win championships, but a culture that can't contain 2 alpha drivers. It's a champagne bottle ready to explode, and this time, the cork might hit their own ceiling. Formula One never forgets. Every great team that ignored internal tension paid for it. Ferrari lost titles when Schumacher's dominance crushed teammates. Red Bull's unity imploded when Vettel ignored orders. Mercedes' empire nearly collapsed when Hamilton and Rosberg turned every meeting into a battlefront. Now McLaren is walking the same path. You'd think a team that lived through the Senna-Prost wars would know better. But the ego has no memory. Every generation believes it can control the uncontrollable until the crash. The truth is, McLaren's biggest rival right now isn't Red Bull or Ferrari. It's itself. The battle inside the garage is fiercer than anything happening on track. And the rest of Formula One is watching with popcorn in hand. F1 explodes again. McLaren's dream season now burns in silence.